Hi, everybody.
Hey, Kelsey.
Hi.
Fans, goodbye. I'm turning off that chat. See you later. Welcome, everybody, to Banishment Ceremony. To Nicholas, Micah, and Chris, welcome to your first Banishment Ceremony. I'm sure you've seen how it works. I'm going to ask some questions. We're going to talk for a bit, and then it will be time to vote, and you will Slack me directly with who you'd like to vote for. So first off, I have to ask the former Royals. Like, Chris, you've never been to a banishment ceremony. How are you feeling being here?
It was the first night after that first challenge. We all kind of had like a little taste of it, like thinking of what going to banishment would be. But the next morning, you know, we never had like the day of scrambling. So I think it was all new to us. We didn't know how to like talk to each other during like a banishment day. And then we're with all these new people too. So it was definitely different than I expected.
Okay, and so Nicholas, off of that, like, you know, one of the challenges with never having going to a banishment is you don't really know where people lie, right? That you have been on a team with. It's all, you can all say that you're together and all that stuff until it's really put to the test. Is that something that you're thinking about going into this banishment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like as I'm sitting here, you know, I have like a pit in my stomach just being here. It's like this is so new to me. And going into this first full day, it's like Chris said, we had a little taste of it, but it's nothing like this day where you actually know it's gonna happen. And like you have to like be like, are those old words good? What about these new relationships with these new people? Like, can I trust them? And so it's like you have to put your faith in people and you don't know where you really stand.
Sure, totally. And Micah, like another one of these things we've seen each season, it's always different, but usually after a swap, we inevitably hear like, oh, old teams mean nothing. I'm looking forward. It's all future now. Is that something that you are feeling or you were communicating to your new teammates, or is there still some old Royals love?
I'm definitely still feeling it, and I find it even harder to rely on my old Royals because it would be easiest for them to, I guess, like go on without me, and like easy for them to have my trust or think they have my trust and trick me. So, yeah.
And, you know, I have to ask, you guys were going to go to a banishment. So there was some planning, right? Like there was planning that began before Vic dropped out. So Nicholas, conceivably, there was a name that all the Royals were ready to throw out. Is that still percolating?
Yeah, I think we all know that we personally had a name and what we knew to be that plan that night, whether it was going to be Vic, me, Chris, or Micah, or Shannon or Joey. We don't really know it because we never got to test that. Sure. And so that absolutely has to be in our heads now in this new dynamic with this new group and our plans.
Mm-hmm. So Keith, I have to ask, you know, fans are thinking it, people are wondering, there's 3 Royals on this team and there's 1 Royals on exile. Do you think that they threw it so that they could all maintain numbers to stay together on a team?
Wow. Okay. Well, first I would like to say, like, obviously, like, none of us are going to be blind to it. Like, there are 3 Royals on this side. Dang, I didn't even think about that. Wow. No, oh, wow. That's a really good strategy.
I'll just say, I did not throw it.
I'm trying to see how I can speak to that now because I haven't thought about that till now. Because like, I feel like in the heat of the moment of the challenge, you're just like, okay, I just need to play for my safety. I don't want to go to banishment regardless. I can work social stuff out later. That was my mindset. So that thought hasn't come across to me, but that would be a good strategy now that you mentioned it. But it hasn't crossed my mind till now. So I'm hoping it didn't cross their mind until now also, but like you never know.
Sure. So Joanna or Colleen, did it cross your mind at all that they might have been throwing it to stay together?
It didn't cross my mind because it was all such a blur. I still am like trying to spell physical in my sleep. And that's all I can like, so that's my only thought about that challenge.
Okay, Joanna, did you feel any sort of way?
I just know they have more numbers here and I feel like I'm in their house and I just want a room. Can I have a room?
Oh, that's interesting. So you're basically publicly saying you'd be willing to flip. The old buns mean nothing to you.
That's not what I said, Kelsey, but you're so cute. I like really love you.
Well, I have to ask
So
because
awesome because you get to kind of be on this kind of outside looking in, and you say a bunch of things and you kind of shake it up.
oh, Joanna, you're so cute how you throw away what I'm asking to not get pinned
I'm a
down.
great redirect.
Joanna, here's my question for you. You were the first person in of the back seven, so you got to choose which channel to go to. I have to ask, why did you choose buns? Because that allows Keith, Micah, Nicholas, Chris, and then when Joey returns to be able to go back, look through all old messages, see if there's any information there. Did you not want to go to a new channel and try and discover anything there?
Not really.
And what was your thinking? What was your reasoning behind going back to the Buns channel? Just like that's where you originated, that's where you identify with?
No, because we never discuss strategy in a group.
Okay. Chris, did you go back and look through the Slack channel to see if there were anything interesting on there?
I started to, but then you just start seeing like pictures that you have no context for. And it's like, is this really a commitment I want to put my time into, or am I going to like start talking to people? Yeah, but nothing, it was clear. I think we all kind of know that we could have gotten into these different channels. So
sure. So Keith, you are the lone flamingo on this new team, which some of us could argue is an incredible asset because you don't have to stay true to any flamingo alliances to make it out of here. You are a solid number to help people. But on the other hand, you could be seen as an easy vote out. What are you feeling coming into this banishment?
I feel well, like coming into every banishment, I'm gonna feel nervous because like you only can trust so much based on what people are telling you. I looked at it from like multiple perspectives, and I was like, okay, like why would you get rid of like the only flamingo? But then also like, okay, you can't just play for like this vote. And like nerves are gonna be happening. Like, okay, for the next vote, like, will I be the next one after that? Like let's say I'm used as an asset for this vote. Like, what's gonna happen with the next vote? So you always have to be thinking ahead, and I've been trying to do that. Feel like I'm really just counting on the conversations that I've had with everybody else throughout the team, and trusting like, okay, like what can we do long term? Because like short term is going to be nice, but okay, like what can we do long term? Like what's going on after this vote? What's going on after the next vote? So that's been my mindset throughout this whole thing, all over the place.
Yes, which is really interesting and does bring up like, and I'll ask you, Micah, like, yes, we just had a team swap, but our numbers are dwindling. We're getting closer to emerge every day. You do kind of have to think about that. You can't just take each banishment and be like, cool, got through that, now what? You do have to kind of have some long-term plans in place. Is that something you're starting to really think about and plan for the future?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm thinking about what I'm saying to everyone and just trying to not burn any bridges, and just try to feel out how everyone feels about everyone else too. So it's a lot to keep up with.
Sure. So, Nicholas, we all know I dropped a clue. We have seen no one play anything yet. We've had a little shift up, so you're exposed to new people, exposed to new things. Are you factoring that into your plan tonight, as someone could be using something, someone could pull something out that I haven't expected?
Yeah, that's definitely been the talk. He's like, does anyone here in this situation out of the 6, do one of us have that advantage? And it definitely was brought up. I think it caused a bit of a thing a little bit, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to get played tonight, but it's just kind of like you have to let's just roll with the game. If it gets played, then we'll see what we have to deal with next time. Whoever.
What did it cause? What happened?
I think it was just, there was like a game of telephone that went on where, somebody, it was misunderstood that somebody was maybe insinuating that they had the advantage, when realistically they were tossing out that hey, this is a possibility that somebody has the advantage, not saying that they themselves have it.
Colleen, is this news to you to hear what Nicholas is talking about? Did this just happen amongst the old Royals, or was this a full team channel knowledge?
Neither.
Care to elaborate?
I don't think the discussion happened between everybody, but that there was some sort of confusion about who might have what. I was aware of that.
Okay. Joanna.
And adequately confused by it, I would like to add.
Okay. Joanna, were you also aware of this game of telephone about a possible advantage or idol?
There's a lot of confusion in the chat today.
So, and Joanna, this isn't the first time you've been confused. Famously, you were confused when we did the whole pointing thing. So, is this part of the Joanna persona playing the game, or are you genuinely?
Oh, I thought you were asking me if I'm just normally kind of like dunce.
No. I think you're very smart and brilliant. I just mean
sometimes I can be.
In this game, are you playing up that element, or are you genuinely confused?
What I'll say is that in the challenge the other day that I really didn't understand what was going on, I super thought I was doing it independently from my team. There's some things that goes on with Colleen. Elisa has a bad knee. Jody did the planks the day before. Scott picked the last person for doing the planks. So I thought I was doing an independent challenge for my team. So yeah, sometimes I do get it wrong.
Okay. Keith, as the lone flamingo, did you also hear about this game of telephone today?
Yeah, there was a lot of confusion about what's happening. Is somebody saying oh, I have something going on? Are they just saying it just to say it? Because obviously there's three royals, so I'm nervous. So why would not the other three outside of that be nervous as well? And it's you have to take everything with a grain of salt, because if you know what I mean? I would, if I felt it was the best move for me, I would of course be spreading I have this is what I have. So it's just you have to be aware of more so okay, what's being said and who is it coming from and why would it make sense for them to say it, essentially, and then make your own observations out of that.
Interesting. So your hypothesis is whoever started the game of telephone is just trying to kind of do some fake stuff to make people afraid of them.
Somebody could actually have somebody can actually not. And you know what I mean? It's so hard to freaking decipher what everyone is telling you, because there's only so much you can do to establish your sense of trust.
Sure. Now, Chris, I have to ask, it would only make sense for this rumor of an advantage or an idol to emanate from the Royals, because you are a three, which if Colleen, Joanna, and Keith decided to work together, it would be a tie. And if it tied again, we could go to rocks. No one wants to ever go to rocks. Is Royals trying to make themselves seem stronger than they are?
I can say that today was just, it seemed like a lot of, we're all trying to learn how to give information to each other and how to not give too much away, but also how to read someone's communication to you and try to decipher it all while there's so much at stake. So it comes down to, you want to talk through something else with someone else, and it might not be that person's intention, but you perceive it a certain way. And then you have to realize that you're doing that same thing. So I think this whole game is us figuring that out together. And unfortunately, there is going to be some confusion around it, but yeah, it's definitely, that's going to happen when you introduce a whole new dynamic of people together.
Sure. So Micah, you could also argue that okay, Royals have the three right now. Joey is on exile. Who knows what he's doing on exile? He comes back, say all the Royals are here. That's 4 power. That's scary. That's scary for Colleen, Joanna, and Keith. How are you able to, let me back up. How are you deciding to talk with Colleen, Joanna, and Keith? Because it's kind of hard to be oh yeah, Joey comes back, we have the numbers, but no, I want to work with you, versus Joey's gone, he means nothing, I'm open to whatever. the numbers are there, we can all see. How do you convince people that you're willing to work with them? Because say one person goes home tonight, I know it's a really long question, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Say someone goes home tonight and you guys never go back to a banishment. You would want the other 2 people to still work with you who aren't royals for a merge. But hi, Dad, really? You're in the car and like, Jesus, that's my father, everybody. Trying to turn it off. It's not working. Okay, great. So Micah, back to your question.
Yeah.
How are you choosing to talk with these 3 non-royals members when the numbers are so obvious?
Yeah, I think I have to remind them and remind myself that like everyone is here for themselves. And just because we spent, more time together than I have with everyone else, that doesn't mean that I necessarily trust them. Like we didn't even have a chance to vote anyone out. And so just because I got put on a team with them, I got picked last. Like that doesn't mean that I necessarily have ties with them.
So if you were picked last, do you fear that you are on the bottom of the royals, of the former royals?
Absolutely. I always have fear in this game, and I think Jody might have said this in a banishment one time, but just like I don't think it's smart for anyone to ever feel safe going into a banishment.
Do any of you feel safe tonight? No. Okay.
Right.
No.
She's right.
So Micah, I have to ask, and this will mean something to the fans more so than any of you watching, because most of you probably didn't watch last season, but there was, when the numbers aren't working with you or they're going to work against you and you are the bottom, you want to flip, right? So how are you also still balancing that with like, you're still here with Chris and Nicholas, you're still on this team with them, you were on Royals with them, but you just said you were picked last.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my mind's been playing games, trying to think about that all day long. And I think ultimately, like I said, like the only person you can trust is yourself. And I just have to feel everybody out and figure out who I can trust. And in the end, it doesn't really matter to me if they were on a team with me or not,
So Nicholas, I've seen you, you've looked down a couple times. You check in Slack, you still figuring out plans? Is there a plan?
I'm fiddling with batteries.
Okay.
Truly, yeah.
Okay, so, Chris, off of that, I really haven't seen anyone like looking at their Slack too much. Do you feel that there is a firm plan in place?
I know where I am voting. I am deciding to come into every banishment with an idea that I have my idea, but also it could be me. I mean, those are the 2 people that I can guesstimate are going to be out tonight. So I don't personally feel like I need to be in Slack right now, but we'll see if that is my mistake or if I am, have the faith in the right people.
Sure. So Colleen, hearing Chris say that, it does sound a little bit like this is the plan I'm doing, and either we're doing the plan I'm doing or you guys are voting me out. How did you receive hearing Chris say that?
I feel like I have maybe a sense of a plan. And so I think that sounds like a really well-worded strategy, right? Like we all think we're going to get voted out unless what we think we're doing works.
Okay. I think we've talked a lot. I think it's time to vote. When I say your name, you're going to Slack me directly with who you'd like to vote for. Nicholas, please Slack me. Chris, please Slack me. Colleen, please Slack me. Keith, please Slack me. Micah, please Slack me. Joanna, please Slack me. Okay, I'm seeing, sorry, my dad texted me, he's sorry that he popped on and it made me chuckle. Before I read the votes, does anyone have an idol that they would like to play?
I do.
Okay, Colleen, you have an idol, and who will you be playing that for? Yourself?
Myself.
Okay, great. Any votes for Colleen will not count. Once I read the votes, the decision is final. That person's quarantine will be up and they will be banished from the island. First vote, Colleen, does not count. Second vote, Colleen, does not count. Third vote, Colleen, does not count. Fourth vote, Colleen, does not count. Fifth vote, Chris. That's 1 for Chris, technically 0 for Colleen. Oh, I forgot to ask you guys all to put your phones up. Chris, I'm sorry, your quarantine is up. You have been banished from the island. Is there anything you'd like to say before you go?
No, I definitely am going to take everything that happened tonight, bringing it to myself. I had a great time. I'm excited to see the rest of this game, and incredible job to you two. Good job. So thank you.
Chris, I'm opening up the chat so you can see all the fan love. I'm sure we'll be flooding in. Chris, we've so enjoyed having you here. It has been so fun. Also, he's given me incredible like tarot card readings and astrology readings. So thank you for that personal journey as well. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Tomorrow we'll be at 5 p.m. The QI reply tonight will be with myself and my brother who played in season 1 and 2. To everyone else, have a good night and we will see you tomorrow. Chris, we have loved having you. We're gonna miss you. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.